Bu Nator Shil Yachad Nuwabakedi Waloy Ma'urwo, the pledge of the United Nuwabian Nation of Moors. Ama Kakdemu Sefunut Hade Gedash Manuf, as I stand beneath our sacred and holy flag. Kanderu Ruki Maul Te Kehikano, Ama Kashgeru Zitaur, I vow to be loyal, obedient as I watch it fly. Ru Ganunwu Shil Manub Naonut, Faref Nawus Weloinut, to the laws of our Constitution that govern our nation. Ru Hare Sabu Kahmelu Tubu Subhem, to this cause I hold my head up high. Akara Garur Kanteru Ru Harus Hade Tahum, with pride I pledge to protect and defend. Kalu Akara Hare Walao Weloy Kalu Hanuf Hade Samur, all within this great nation, both family and friend. Ru Yankud Faref Karetkut Mu Adorhut Hagoyu, to ensure all has their equal rights. Ru Hare Sabu Kazur Gedu Atnakhum, to this cause I will lay down my very life. Ama Kapdemu Tachuth Haresan Un Hade Gedash Danun, as I stand beneath this sacred and holy seal. Kanderu Nafusum Mewa Chelas Hade Kazut Menu Tiat Mewikanu Akara Khera, I vow myself loyal, sincere, and vow integrity with zeal.
So sitting next to you, or sitting behind you or front, so sitting next to you, you might be sitting next to a black devil.
It states in Psalms chapter 82 verse 6, I have said ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
This is the Elder Raziel with a message for the children of the Elohim.
I walked a long journey on the short path, where after this mind expands, math itself came through with the master teacher. Get wealth from what I have to teach you, not a preacher. The Anunnaki created this creature, fully packed with features. Nuwabu knocking off leeches. Peace to Malachi, Ziyor, Noble Jew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, respect and pay homage from the NUWABIAN tribe. We hope to see you. We still kicking the flows, all the girls know. Just listen to show so your mind grows toward a genetic explosion. X out whoever was chosen by deception to sell out Negro, the greatest destruction. Without question, knowledge is a weapon. Like Cain, ain't no half-stepping to a greater direction. Rit Nalej Radio. And this is your host, Mahuta Hedokayu. Give yourself a round of applause for being here. You know what I mean? Wait a minute. Let's get another round of applause. That's right. You know, it's a blessing to be here today as your host. That I get the opportunity to bring you guys some news. I know NUWABIAN news is kind of rare these days, unfortunately. So what we got here today. All right, before we jump into the show, we want to say what day it is in NUWABIC, right? So the Gregorian date is June 1st. 2024. The NUWABIC date is year 83, month 16, which is the month of Anubu, 4th week, 1st day of Anu, Tashu Anu. The day in this is show 55. And the reason we making the show today, the topic will be the 9-ball. What is the 9-ball? And I'm reading from a book called 9-Ball and Bible Interpretations and Explanations. So when we read this book, it should also answer the question about, what is Nuwabu? What is this thing that we claim our whole nationality by? What type of doctrine is it? How can we use it? What are the elements of Nuwabu? How should we use it in our everyday lives? And some of that is going to be answered here. Now, I don't know how many parts this reading is going to be. I'm not going to read through the whole entire books and all the counts, especially in the 9-ball. I'm going to read certain verses that I think pertain to how the NUWABIAN can use this doctrine today, because I see a lot of foolishness coming out of a lot of other camps, and we're not going to deal with that, but we're going to deal it from a NUWABIAN perspective. All right, so we're going to turn the music down in the background a tad bit. Okay, the first section is called Introduction to 9.1. The purpose of the booklets known as the 9-ball is liberation information for woolly-haired people called the Ethiopian race. We, the scientists of the Ethiopian race, can know that whatever Ethiopians do for successful liberation must be done intelligently, meaning the steps we take to be responsible and practical. So this is a booklet and is written by those who care. Now, I don't know if that's one person. You'll hear through the readings that it is claimed to be the students of AWWUR, who of course is Dr. York. So it says number 2, all people genuinely woolly haired by nature are in the Ethiopian race. And the Ethiopian race everywhere is the beginning. We are most concerned the Ethiopian race everywhere is the being we are most concerned about, not only because we are part of the Ethiopian race, but also because we find our race in the lowest position of all races. And this is because our race has the least correct information, which is another way of saying the least correct knowledge. Now, that is a pretty powerful statement, saying that we're in the lowest position of all races on the planet. All right. And the students of Nuwabu who wrote this around 1967 are correct even 60, 55 years, somewhere around that range later. We're still in the lowest position. We got some athletes, but these are all sellout Negroes. You see what Puff's doing. They turn to the devil's way of living. So, excuse me, these people don't represent NUWABIANS and specifically, NUWABIAN, even though the master teacher says, NUWABIAN is a race, NUWABIAN is a nationality built off a doctrine brought by AWWUR. Inshallah. So if we keep it in that perspective, because when these books came out in 1967, Nuwabu is a general doctrine for Nuwabian people. If you're not a Nuwabian, you don't need to be following Nuwabu. You can follow whatever your leader has for you. But saying we're in the last position because we had the least correct information goes back to Caucasoid schools and Caucasian. I'm starting to say Caucasian because that's how the word is spelled, right? I know I'm a nerd about these things. Just ignore me, y'all, okay? So let's read verse 3. We Ethiopian scientists can know that a person or race's physical position among others indicate his or her mental position among others. Therefore, since our race holds the lowest position of races on orb Earth, this means that our mental position is lowest. And until our mental position rises, we as a race cannot raise our physical status. So Amanu Barachta is saying, or his students are saying, the mental must come before the physical. That's basically what's being said here. So until we get to know ourselves, and that takes a lot of knowledge, right? We need to hold back on the fighting and the war and all that until we get mentally prepared to run our own communities, our own banks, school systems, clothes, language. Until we do that, what are you fighting for? You might defeat the Caucasoid, right? But you're going to do the same thing he do because that's all you know. That's all you know. So, continuing. The elevator of our mental status is 9 knowledge. And 9 knowledge needed at this time is liberation information for the Ethiopians are now in captivity to alien forces and adverse forces. 4. The booklets called the 9 Ball will present the highest quality of reason and therefore the highest form of knowledge by nature available to woolly-haired people on Orth Herb at this time for liberation purposes. The highest quality of reason in existence is 9 reason, and the highest form of knowledge is 9 knowledge. The offspring of 9 reason. 9 in anything is the highest, for there is no digit higher than 9. 9 is the origin of the Ethiopian race, and 9 is the suns of the universes, including the sun of our solar system. The only way one can tap the living mind of nature is with 9 reason. That's another interesting paragraph. Now when he says suns, you could also think of stars, because our star is named the sun, but every star in every galaxy is not named the sun in every solar system. So that's talking about billions of entities there. So just think of it that way. And he said the highest form of knowledge is 9 knowledge. All right. So 5. Too much stress has been put on the physical by the Ethiopian organizations and not nearly enough on the mental, what I was just mentioning before. And not nearly enough on the mental is why we have not progressed properly toward liberation. For real liberation is mental as well as physical separation from adverse forces. And the mental separation comes first. There is no such thing as a successful physical liberation without first having a mental liberation. When we achieve mental liberation, the physical liberation will come natural. In the rate of the Ethiopians make effort in accord with 9 knowledge, that is liberation information. 6. The Ethiopian race is confined in a prison of alien culture and buried in a grave of adverse ignorance. And this alone is enough to keep woolly-haired people in captivity to enemy forces. So the booklets entitled The Nine Ball are designed to help destroy the mental grave and prison limitations on the minds of the Ethiopian that we will liberate from those who would keep us captive. The mental process is the road to liberation, and that mental process may scientifically be called mental liberation, the purpose of these booklets. So another thing is Ethiopian, you could also say Moor, like Moorish folks. I wouldn't say Negro or black though, and he'll get into that, though the students will get into that later. But not black or Negro, because Negro just means black in Spanish, right? So we got to get out of that mental trap, that spell of Leviathan. 7. We Ethiopian scientists do not expect all woolly-haired people to be receptive to 9 reason and 9 knowledge. It will take time for some to understand, and there are others who will neither understand nor care, but those among us who are intelligent by nature will understand, accept, and adhere. These are the ones we are searching for these are the survival in the future of the Ethiopian race. No one can make another intelligent. A person must be born intelligent, and the intelligent among us are the only ones who can liberate self. No one can liberate a person. A person must liberate self by understanding, accepting, and following liberation knowledge. All right, continuing. So we got number 8 here, verse 8. Mental liberation informs us that before woolly-haired people were called Negroes by the Caucasian, we were called Ethiopians, and before we were known as Ethiopians by the Greeks, we were called Nubians by the ancients. The words Ethiopian and Nubian are the same in meaning. They mean both ether, the life-giving, light-giving, burning energies that the sun produces called prominences, and sunshine. They're Caucasian. The white man and woman never taught black people that sunshine is ether, because if they had, some of us would have been able to reason out our origin many years ago. But one of the Caucasian purposes is to keep Ethiopians ignorant, so we can be used against ourselves for Caucasian benefit and well-being. 9. When we say Ethiopian, we're not referring to only woolly-haired people born in the state of Africa known as Ethiopia, but woolly-haired people wherever they are, namely all people of the Ethiopian race. The root of the word Ethiopian is the word ether, and it means our origin, the sun, because the sun is 9, and 9 ether sun produces the Ethiopian race. The Nubians, okay, it looks like the next page was kind of blurred beyond reading, so we got to jump to verse 11. The blackness that the Caucasian gets by basking in the sun is temporary, for as soon as he or she quits basking, that person starts getting paler. But it is different with the Ethiopian. Our blackness is inherent from the sun, that is, our being the sun's original offspring. He empowered us Ethiopians with the same powers that he has, the power to be black and produce black offspring. Excuse me. In other words, our skin is black. Well, no one's skin is actually black. That's what I'm saying. No one's skin is actually black. But these are words that they used back in the late 60s that people could understand. In other words, our skin is black because, like the sun, we Ethiopians have in our reproductive system and marrow of our bones what what's called sun heat genes. And these sun heat genes become part of the blood and they emanate outward toward the skin. And our sun heat genes burn the skin black. The more sun heat genes one has, the blacker that person will be. Therefore, being black is being superior in color, because the suns of the universes are jet black, and they are superior to all other universal bodies. Hence, black is not only beautiful, but also the best and purest of the colors. So he's talking about the sun heat genes. I think there is a book called The Sun Heat Genes. It's a NUWABIAN book where he dives a lot deeper into that. Okay, let's read 12. The sun is male and Mother Earth is female. The sun gives off ether in the form of what is called prominences. The sun has antennae called granulation, and Ethiopian's woolly hair looks like that granulation. So our woolly hair may correctly be called granulation, in parentheses, using an English expression. If one puts a strand of hair closer and closer to a fire, that strand of hair will granulate. That is, ball up because of the potency of the heat. The Ethiopian carries his and her sun within, and we appeared on planet Earth at a time when no other race could survive the Earth's atmosphere, because just after creation, the atmosphere was... sorry, I lost my place when I skipped pages here, when I moved up to the next page. Okay. Because just after creation, the atmosphere was too dense and potent for the weakness of human beings called mankind. Mankind, as all peoples, was straight hair by nature. The Ethiopian became identified with mankind down through evolution. Right? So he talks about the hair, when a strand of hair meets the fire, the hair is going to curl up, almost like a 9, like the head of a 9. And with your root going into your scalp or your epidermis, it stands up like a 9. That's also part of the 9 ether, being the 9 ether being. So, but he's getting to the real science, the details of, comparing that. The students of AWWUR comparing prominences and granulation, which are both Latin words. They don't have any English word for it, so that'll let you know how intelligent they thought they were, that they had to go grab it from Latin and French. And French grabbed it from Latin too, So anyway, granulation and prominences coming from the sun, right? That heat, or that molecular activity, because that's what heat is, causes the 9 to curl tight into a 9. That means we're burning much more efficiently and with strength than all other races on the planet. All right, so okay, we're gonna get into count 1 part B. Now, what I read, the introduction, that was count 1 part A. Now, the title of count 1 part B is called 9 Reasons, and I definitely want to read this whole thing. And it starts off at verse 15. And it says, "Show us a person or a race who has lost his or its ability to reason soundly, and we will show you a person or race in degradation as compared to the highest standards of nature. There are 7 senses: seeing, feeling, tasting, hearing, smelling, thinking, and reasoning. What divides the animal world from the world of Ta, the Ethiopian race, is the woolly-haired person's capability to sound No, to reason soundly when that person is in his right mind. That is, when the Ethiopian is in his or her own knowledge and own cycle. The highest form of reason is 9 reason. 16. Mankind and all other animals can exercise the first six senses, but only tall kind is capable of experiencing 9 reason, the 7th sense. Mankind has the capability to do heavy thinking, but 9 reasoning is above the level of mankind's mentality. And this is why mankind admires and worships all intelligent levels, 7 and above. Mankind intelligence stops at 6, because the mentality of the animal world ranges from 0 to 6. Mankind is the head and king of the animal world. The animal world is the zodiac in flesh and blood. The word zodiac means existence and unity of animals. All right. So we're getting into 9 reason. He's talking about the 7th level, which is reasoning. Reasoning goes beyond just, like he said, the caucasoid can do heavy thinking, but he can't do a lot of reasoning, or at least a lot of reasoning that makes sense. There's a lot of philosophies. Like on YouTube, there's a lot of philosophy channels, but they're not really factual. They're just people's opinions. And they sound nice. They're really, as they say, clear, mubin, but they don't have a lot of reasoning, and a lot of them are not practical. Like it says in the Bible, it says, let no man spoil you by philosophy. So, right. So mankind thinks in levels of 0 to 6. Ta kind, which is NUWABIANs, Moors in general, we think 7 and above. If you've done the homework. If you've done the homework. You're not going to do no homework, no study, and have no discipline, all of a sudden think it's 7. That's not going to happen. All right. So let's go to verse 17. Thinking is the straight line mental process of the chemicals of brain matter, whereas reasoning is the circle mental process of the chemicals of brain matter. So we're dealing with the brain matter. We're talking about thinking in a straight line and thinking in a circular line. Now, master teacher has informed these students that thinking in a straight line is negative. Thinking in a circle, as far as cycles of nature is positive in nature. The straight line mental process is mental exercise based on a high percentage of negative brain matter than positive. And the circle mental process is mental exercise based on a higher percentage of positive brain matter than negative. Reasoning employs the natural ability to determine what is right or wrong, what is true or false by the nature of nature. Thinking is the exercise of brain matter in mental death, and reasoning is the exercise of brain matter in mental life. When more negative brain matter is active than positive brain matter, their mind is mentally dead. And when the reverse exists, their mind is mentally alive. All right. So, couple things to note here. That reasoning, you think in cycles, is more positive thinking and reasoning. Now, he says negative brain matter has to do with a straight line thinking process. Well, there it is right there. You think in a straight line, you're thinking more negatively, right? As things are just black and white. You know, that would be an example of straight line thinking, reasoning, you know, taking care of your gardens, watching your health, knowing that your life is linked up with other people's lives, so you just can't think about yourself all the time. You got to think about the tribe. You got to think about other things. You got bothering my ear right here. But yeah, you got to think about other things than just yourself. That would be thinking about the whole, right? That would be more of a circular thinking process, and thinking in seasons and not thinking that 2,000 years ago and it's time just goes in a straight line like this. No, it doesn't. Things rise and fall. There's markets rise and fall. People live and die, and then someone else is born. You know, these things are, existence is in cycles, never a straight line. Never a straight line. Okay, verse 18. Reasoning is thinking above the animal level. 9 reason is the highest form of mental process. 9 reason is the mind of the original creator, the true stars, the suns. 9 reason is the elevator of Ethiopian minds. And 9 knowledge, the knowledge that 9 reason produces, is the liberator of our minds, and vice versa. A person sees, hears, tastes, and smells, feels with his or her mind via the nerve system, which is the network and tentacles of the brain. When the Ethiopian race lost its ability to reason soundly by the way of the evolutionary forces, servitude was inevitable. Leviathan, the zodiac, is the evolutionary forces. All right. And we're going to end it right there. I'm going to continue. I'm going to make a note to continue with count 1, part C, which is 9 knowledge. 9 knowledge. All right. So this is Brother Mudhuta. I'm signing out. Ruanu Wadu.
So sitting next to you, or sitting behind you, or front, so sitting next to you, you might be sitting next to Black Devil.
It states in Psalm chapter 82 verse 6, I have sent ye a God, and all of you are children of the Most High.
This is the Elder Raziel with a message for the children of the Elohim.
I walked a long journey on the short path, where after this mind expands math itself. Came through with the master teacher. Get wealth from what I have to teach you. Not a preacher, the Anunnaki created this creature, fully packed with features. NUWABIAN, knocking off leeches. Peace to Malachi, Ziyor, Noble Jew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Respect and pay homage from the NUWABIAN tribe. We hope to see you. We still kicking the flows. All the girls know. Just listen to show so your mind grows toward a genetic explosion. X out whoever was chosen by deception to sell out Negro, the greatest destruction. Without question, knowledge is a weapon. Like Cain, ain't no half stepping to a greater direction.